There is grandeur in this view of life.
Welcome to Evolution Talk with Rick Coast, an introduction to the oldest story ever told.
The sound you just heard was the birth of the universe, our universe. And there may have been other bangs that gave birth to, say, different universes, but this is the only one that we know of. Ours started with a bang, so we call it the Big Bang. From one little seed of highly condensed matter, we have everything. It happened a long time ago. If our estimates are correct, and a lot of science has gone into assuring us that we are, the Big Bang occurred 13.7 billion years ago. And a lot has happened since then. And for most of it, there were no eyes to witness it. At least not here on our little Earth. We came along much later. Much, much later. And how much later will actually blow your mind. And that is what today's show is about. Perspective. To truly appreciate the evolution of life on this planet and our place in it up until this moment, we have to set aside the notion that we are special, at least in the sense that it is all about us. For a long time, it wasn't. To understand this, we need a calendar. And not just any calendar. What we need is a special calendar. Many years ago, in 1977, astronomer and author Carl Sagan offered us the concept of a cosmic calendar in his book, The Dragons of Eden. It's a fun thought experiment in which you take the entire history of the universe, from the Big Bang until now, and represent it as a calendar year. The universe starts on January 1st at midnight, and from there we can step through the calendar to see when things happened. For every second within our cosmic calendar, 434 years have passed. A minute later, over 26,000 years have passed. In an hour, we're looking at 1.57 million years. To begin, let's flip back to the very first page of our calendar and put a big X on January 1st. So, that's the birth of our universe. Hot gases spread out in all directions. They cool off, condense, and begin to form little galaxies. 2 trillion of them. And one of those galaxies is our own little Milky Way galaxy. If we start stepping through our calendar day by day, page by page, waiting to mark the day the Milky Way was formed, how many blank days do you think your pencil will hover over and pass by? If you guessed anything less than 130, you were wrong. Our galaxy wasn't formed in January or February or even March. Not even April. The Milky Way wasn't formed until 4.9 billion years after the Big Bang. And if we were to celebrate Milky Way Day on our cosmic calendar, that day would fall on May 11th. There are other dates to celebrate too. The next one doesn't happen for quite a while though. Things are very boring after Milky Way Day. To be honest, things are very boring in the Milky Way. That is, until suns and planets form. Our next special day is Sunday. I don't mean Sunday as in Saturday, Sunday. I mean solar Sunday. The entire summer will have passed before we get to it. Our sun was formed on September 1st, another 4 months after Milky Way Day on May 11th, and 9 months after the Big Bang. Now don't get confused. Remember, we're talking about cosmic calendar months. The actual time it took for our sun to form after the Big Bang was a bit over 9 billion years, or 4.5 billion years ago, moving backwards from the present. So now we have 2 dates marked in our calendars after Big Bang Day on January 1st. We've celebrated Milky Way Day on May 11th and Sun Day on September 1st. The next big day, maybe the biggest one as far as we're concerned, is Earth Day. You can mark your calendar to celebrate Earth Day on September 14th. Now, I promise your calendar will start filling up with dates, but not as many as you might think. But certainly more than the months and months of blank pages it took you to get here. The universe was pretty dull for those first 9 months. So, what about life? We haven't even talked about life at all yet, and that's because there's been no reason to. Life doesn't suddenly appear with the formation of the Earth on September 14th. It would take a week. And I realize how that sounds, but that week is actually 0.77 billion years. You can mark September 21st as Prokaryote Day. That's the day life in the form of little squiggling microscopic single-celled organisms appeared. That's our bacteria and cyanobacteria. This all builds up to nothing. Nothing happens for the rest of September. The prokaryotes continue to wiggle around in their primordial ooze for the rest of the month and all through October. And if you really want to mark your calendar in October, you can always put an X on October 29th if you'd like. That was the day oxygen began to fill the atmosphere. You can call it the Great Oxidation Event. Scientists do. That's the day, and remember by day I mean millions of years, that's the day things were ripe for our little cyanobacteria friends to photosynthesize enough oxygen to make the next steps possible. So do you think November gets exciting? Well, it does. For one day. Sorry, just one day to celebrate in November. I was born in November, November 23rd to be exact, but that's an entirely different calendar. On this calendar, you can mark November 8th as being a special day. On this day, the eukaryotes appear. They weren't simple single-celled organisms either. These were amazing complex-celled organisms with genetic material. So let's go ahead and call November 8th DNA Day. And that's it for November. Now, December is another story altogether. Things get crazy in December. And by crazy, I mean those eukaryotes continue to party until multicellular life appears on December 5th. Now, this multicellular life celebrates its way to December 14th when the arthropods and simple animals appear. On December 18th, the fish and proto-amphibians would poke their heads out of the mud to see what was going on dry land. There wasn't much until December 20th when plants started to sprout. Like I said, a lot happens in December, but we're not done yet. For plants to consume and an ocean to emerge from, amphibians would make their way onto dry land on December 22nd. On December 23rd, reptiles appeared. And 3 days later, on December 26th, the first mammals started scurrying about. Birds even made their first appearance on December 27th. I told you things would pick up in December. The latter part of December, that is. So far, we've been marking days for celebration, but not every special day calls for party whistles and streamers. There are bad days too, like December 30th. December 30th was a very bad day. That's the day the asteroid hit. December 30th is Mass Extinction Day. It was a horrible day for dinosaurs, but if you want to look at the bright side, it did allow for one particular species to thrive. That's right, primates. December 31st, the very last day of the year, was the busiest one of all. Consider it a day of celebrations and back-to-back parties. Now, here's your itinerary for the day. I hope you got your rest because it's going to be a busy one. At 6 a.m., you have a party to attend, and there will be apes there, the first of their kind. You'll hang out with the apes until around 2:24 p.m., where you'll be picked up and carried to the hominid party. Now that one will last a while. At 10:24 p.m., you have a stone tool party to attend with some primitive humans. A bonfire at 11:44, and then a big party to get to at 11:52 to meet a very special guest. Now who's that special guest? 11:52 p.m., December 31st, is when modern humans appeared, just in time for the end of the year celebration. Nothing like grand appearances, right? With 8 minutes to spare before the clock strikes midnight. But before we get to midnight, in the very last second, more things happen. In the last second, the United States declares its independence, there's a revolution in France, world wars are fought, and atomic bombs are set off. Welcome to midnight. I'd say it was quite a year. Now, as far as we, modern humans are concerned, nothing really happened until the last few seconds. Talk about late to the party. But better late than never. So, what's next? Another year is next. But this one is more like 2020 was. It's not going to be a very good year. It's a glimpse into the future, with each month representing 1 billion years. I won't scare you with all the details, but I'll give you a couple of spoilers. All of the wonderful life that exploded to cover the Earth in December, by March 1st, it will all be gone. On April 9th, the sun will have expanded into a red giant, and by the end of July, it will have gobbled our planet up. When the clock again strikes midnight on December 31st, it's lights out for our little solar system. We had quite a run. But let's not dwell on that now. Instead, let's pull out our cosmic calendar and flip through the pages and reminisce about all of those wonderful dates we have to be thankful for and to celebrate. Dates like the Big Bang Day, Milky Way Day, Earth Day, and of course DNA Day, to name just a few. Here, let me turn the light back on so you can read. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Evolution Talk. I'm Rick Coast, and you can find show notes and source material used for this episode at evolutiontalk.com. I hope your week is going well, and until next time, please take care of yourself.
Evolution Talk is a Rick Coast production.